Hello everyone, welcome back to the United Stand 4 PM show, a special one, end of season. We're going to go into transfers, what we think in terms of players we want in. We're going to go over everything that's gone on in United over the last week. We're going to discuss it with the panel though. We're going to get some debate going, we're going to get some opinions going, and we've freshened up the panel as well. You all know Kev and Faz, but making his debut on the panel today,
Hello.
Mr. Angry Ginge himself. Morgan, welcome to the show, mate. I am loving that shirt that you've got on for starters, mate.
Forza Internacional. That's all I've got to say for Saturday.
Getting angry already, I like it. Play to you, mate.
That's it. I mean, guys, give Ginge some love in the chat as well. Let us know and get your opinions on everything that we're going to discuss over the next hour. An hour-long transfer special show. I mean, we've got to start with what's happening in the world of football today. And believe it or not, another big name linked with a move over to the billionaires over in Saudi Arabia. Faz, David de Gea. The next one in line, apparently.
Yeah, I have heard. Look, if David de Gea wants to continue on a similar wage packet that he's on currently,
That's a point.
then you know what? Make it easier for us. How about that? It makes it easier for us because, yes, the goalkeeper position is somewhat of a priority between number 2, number 4, wherever you want to put him on the list, but it's there. And if a club, one of the issues is where is David going to go? If we were to let him go, where is he going to go? Who's going to take up that wage packet? And obviously, he's going to be free unless we renegotiate a contract, and we don't know how much he wants to reduce. And keeping a keeper who's on 250, something like that, a week on a bench is a big deal as well. Do we want him as a number 1? Loads of different questions. If there is a club who can pay him extortionate amount of money, and he rightfully deserves it. He rightfully deserves his money in a team that can afford it, just like Benzema is going now. Then let him, 100%. Let him, it's fine. Thank you very much for your services, David. Love you more than anything. But if a club comes, see you later.
I know a man that loves him more than anything, and it's a goalkeepers union going on here right now. I mean, Ginge, honestly, mate, David de Gea, I know you're a big fan.
Yeah,
you're a massive fan. You're a goalkeeper yourself, so like you said before to me off air, it's goalkeepers union. You won't have a bad word said about him, but even with your sensible hat on, where are you at with de Gea right now?
Where I'm at with De Gea, sign the contract, get him in for next season. I think, other than one thing I noticed in the final is his distribution obviously needs works, but other than that, it's between him and Courtois, but I still put him as the best keeper in the world. Shot stopping wise, if you look at some of the games that we didn't drop points from but could have, West Ham, Leicester. I mean, Leicester we should have been 2-0 down straight away first half. He pulls off 2 absolutely outrageous saves, and some of the saves he makes, I just don't see any other goalkeeper in the world that can pull them off.
Do you think his distribution, is that something that he can improve? I know you say he needs to improve on it, but his stage of his career now, is that something next season that we're going to see, a massive uprising and he's going to...
It's the point now, because I remember De Gea, when he first came to the club, he needed bulking up, he dropped a clanger in his first game at West Brom, but the next home game, this man did a Cruyff turn in his 6-yard box and sent Rafael van der Vaart the wrong way, and I thought, we've finally got this goal. Where's it gone? Because it was there.
Look, it goes back to that saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. If we needed to work on it, look at Aaron Wan-Bissaka. The coaching that we've got available is there. People can improve immensely. Wan-Bissaka going forward this season has been, no one would have thought that, no chance. So I always think there's a reason we're not seeing the improvement, or is it he's just not capable of it? But I think he redeems himself with the saves he makes and the points we gain from having him in goal.
I'm just checking out some of the comments here. Some agreeing with you, some saying United instead of anything on anything to do with what we're talking about. But yeah, it is what it is. I mean, De Gea is going to divide opinion constantly. I mean, Kev, just said it then. His debut, it looked like he was about 8 stone drenched through. Yeah. It looked like he needed to put muscle on. He did. Looks like he slimmed off again. I'm looking at goalkeepers now, and he looks strong. Commanding the box is a big thing for a goalkeeper. I just don't see De Gea coming off his line. I always go mad at him. There was one game, I think it was Wolves at home, and everyone wondered why I stood up and cheered and shouted. He came out of his box and he headed a football. That's how much, that's how less he does it, to be honest. That got that out of me because he never does it. That was a surprise to me. But every other goalkeeper in the league I see come to United comes out of the box, carries the ball out, claims the ball, comes for crosses. De Gea
it's that thing of dominating your area and commanding it. I think that's something, and I'm not for 1 minute saying that Dean Henderson's a better keeper than David de Gea, but when Henderson was in goal for United, the one thing you could say that he had over de Gea was that he commanded his box.
Perfect,
showed a bit of authority in the area. But for de Gea, it's... I don't know. At the start of the season, there was a lot of people telling me that Manchester United needed to change the keeper, and I looked and I thought, exactly how you've just said it. David de Gea, he's got the Golden Glove this season, for Christ's sake, and they're not. You get other people that say it's the defence that's in front of him. It's not down to de Gea. It is, and he's one of the best shot stoppers in world football, without a shadow of a doubt. I was willing to give it this season, and I knew that under Ten Hag, after one season, this will be an area that he will definitely look to change. And I think, as much as I can say it, I was the same with Solskjaer when he was manager at Man United. I clung on to that. I love Solskjaer, but there did come a time when you have to have fresh ideas. You definitely, when you look at some of the teams that have changed their keepers and made such a difference to their team simply by doing that, I think it is an area now that you've seen the kind of things that Ten Hag said, haven't you? He's made comments and he hasn't shied away from it. He said it's an area that they are going to look at. And like Faz says, I think it's quite interesting about the money that he's on. Who else would pay that at this moment in time? So it could be a match made in heaven if, there could be some kind of agreement where De Gea and Manchester United kind of part ways. But one thing I'll never do is slag David de Gea off, because I think he's been an absolute monumental goalkeeper for Manchester United over the years.
Longest serving player at the football club right now.
Still there from the Sir Alex Ferguson days.
The last, Phil Jones has gone this summer. Was this now he's the last?
That's it.
Last man standing.
The last man standing from Australia. So, first super chat of the day is, you're not going to guess what the super chat says. 3 words.
United.
That's the one, mate. Well said. Right on cue. We're talking money, transfer show, obviously. If De Gea goes, Faz, what can we fetch for him?
That's going to be very interesting because...
The Saudis will pay, won't
Because, firstly, he's not actually old, compared to some other keepers. That's one. On top of that, he's won a trophy this year. On top of that, he's had a personal accolade this year in the best league in the world. So we should be able to get quite a bit of money for him.
Good time to sell.
We've done a 1, 2, 3. Come first in the Carabao, second in the FA, third in the league. We've done decent in Europa. David de Gea has almost played every single game you could possibly think of, by the odd games here and there. But so, yeah, I think we can get quite a bit of money. The figure, in all honesty, I have no clue. How much do you value him? I actually don't know. Like, some people will say, is 20 million too much, or is 10 million too less? Is 40 million way too much, considering certain other keepers that are going for 40, 50 million? I think just thinking as a business perspective, I would be more than happy if we got between the ranges of 10 to 20 million. Something like that.
But the thing that changes it, if Saudi Arabia are involved, you could be talking 20 million, you could be talking 100 million or something ridiculous.
If Kepa Arrizabalaga is worth 70, then what's David de Gea? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's everything, isn't it? I mean, you put a figure on his head right now. I'm going to go across the board before we move on. Ginge, David de Gea, realistically?
Realistically, I'd go an easy 40 million. 40
million, Faz?
I would say 20 million, it's a very good.
Kev?
I had 30 in my head. I think 30 is a fair price.
I mean, we're looking at 30 to 40 for Dean Henderson.
I'll change that.
And you know what? That's actually...
I'll go 60 million.
If Dean is 30 and 40, but then Costa, there's Raya, there's Maignan, all of these other keepers...
So, say, for instance, then, let's move the subject on to if De Gea was to go, or let's say he didn't, but he accepted he was second. Goalkeeping union first, Ginge. Raya, Costa... Who comes into United? Who is that next generation of goalkeeper that we need?
It's a tricky one because it's not just the ability, it's the pressure of can they withhold being the number one for Man United. Yep. That is the main thing, and it's confidence as well. I think someone I've always looked at, it's David Raya, 100%. But then I've also had I'm going to get belted for this, but Meslier from Leeds, I think he is really young. I think he's 19. Bit like Dave was when he came in, really young, coached, best keeper in the world. I think Melié's had a bit of a rotter towards the end of this season, but that's just due to goalkeeping, because confidence, sorry. Because 50% of goalkeeping is confidence, and when you're getting belted 6-0 every game, it's just going to go lower and lower. So I would say David Raya, or maybe look to Melié, but then you bring into the fact of, do we want to buy a Leeds United player as well? So that's what I'd say.
As an old school Manchester United fan, I'm cutting that right there.
Yeah,
no one from that part of the that side of the Pennines is coming to Manchester
He's
United.
in the hot take seat. This is what happens.
This is it.
It's
they get all
cursed, this seat.
excited.
Ricky usually sits down, so we get some
But
right
I mean,
belters.
in terms of the contract, Faz, there is that option. United haven't triggered it yet, so Ten Hag still hasn't committed to De Gea. That says a lot about where he's thinking right now, isn't it? I mean, looking at what's available, like we just asked Jinzen, who would you go for?
The thing is, in the goalkeeper position, there's loads of different options.
There's a few now.
There's a few different options, and a few different keepers want to move, and I'm sure they'd be willing. You know, Man United is an easy sell. Champions League football, done well this season. You'd be coming under a really good manager as well, with a good back line, looking to get another centre back. So all very positive things. I'm actually not very concerned. Raya is a very good shout. That would have been my number one. Costa's a good shout as well. I'm a big fan of Mike Maignan as well. So there's loads of different. Any of those three keepers, I'd be more than happy. One of my things is I want to be a bit more comfortable with the keeper, because ball playing and all of that is tick, 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 no problem. But penalty stopping, I want a keeper that I know, like Bono. You saw Bono, man. This guy just stops penning. And when David de Gea saved the pen against Thingy the other day, against Fulham, I was up, my jaw was on the floor. I couldn't be. And he did a little celebration as well. I want a keeper that could stop a few penalties, because obviously knockout competitions, you want to have that safety net. So whoever out of the three, best penalty shot stopper with ball playing, game.
Tim Krul's going to save him pens.
A couple of super chats. We need a goalkeeper, but it's not priority. That's from Will Owen. Another super chat in says, what do we know about this Anderlecht goalkeeper that had been mentioned? Darren Mullane. I'm not 100% certain. I mean, I'm going with what Ginny said, Kev. You need to know where you're going when you come into Manchester United. You walk through the doors of Old Trafford, there's a different pressure. We've seen players leave United and actually do well because they haven't got that pressure on them. Ricky's mate, Danny Welbeck, couldn't live up to the expectation.
Oh, Matic.
Do you know what I mean? It's what it is. Wearing that shirt, that's why you paid big money. That's why Manchester United fork out a lot more. But is there anyone out there right now that looks right to you, but honestly, in your hand on heart, is there anyone out there that you're fully confident won't collapse or won't struggle with that pressure? Because that's a big ask.
It's a very,
does that
very
then
good
determine
question.
who we go for?
I think it does, because like you say, that the shirt does weigh heavy, and when we've seen, as you mentioned earlier, David de Gea first come into this team, he was shaky. But United invested a lot of money into him, invested a lot of time into him, because they could see the bigger picture. My worry at the minute is, if you're going to go and replace David de Gea, it has to be with somebody that is better than him. And this is where this modern day football thing comes in with the goalkeeper. It has to really be somebody that's very good with the feet. You know,
here's a question for you right now. Apparently the most hotly contested international goalkeeping spot is the England one. Are any of them England goalkeepers better than De Gea? Pope, Pickford.
You know what? Pickford fills me.
Ramsdale.
Pickford fills me with joy. I can't lie.
What?
It's my
You
guilt.
like him?
It's like my guilty play. The way Pickford plays sometimes,
You have to explain this to me. I don't.
It's just a joy to watch.
Pickford reminds me of Joe Hart, and I didn't like
it's
Joe
just a
Hart.
joy
I know
to watch.
he wears his heart on his sleeve. He was too emotional.
When we played him at Old Trafford, you saw some of the saves he was making. You think how and why, considering his size as well, the way he's almost defying physics the way he dives. But it's just no, they're not better than David de Gea, no. But it's just Pickford I like.
Robert Sanchez,
Ramsdale is nowhere near.
Robert Sanchez from Brighton in the super chat says Darren Mullane. I think he's fallen off a bit. Robert Sanchez.
Yeah. Well, he didn't even. It was his first game in ages, the semi-final, weren't it?
Yeah, Jason Steele came in for him. Yeah, played well against us, obviously. We know
only Emi Martinez, I think I would say from.
I like Martinez. I would jump on him instantly. If you offered me him, that's my type of keeper.
I always say about Martinez, he's a proper shithouse.
Yeah,
but if he was in your team, if you had to nail me down at what now that you've mentioned that name, and I have said it previously to Beth when we were having a discussion about David de Gea, And I said it to her. I said, "Will you take Martinez?" And she was like, "Without a shadow of a doubt."
You give me a Martinez tag team in our back line, and then we're winning the title.
Yeah.
If you've got a butcher in front of a butcher,
you need to
Don't clip
spine of
this.
the team.
I promise you, don't clip this.
That's
A team
it.
of butchers. That's what we need.
That's it. But straight there, I'm thinking World Cup final mentality. That answers every single. It ticks every box.
He would not be fazed one bit by coming to Manchester United, taking the number 1 shirt. And this is what I was trying to go back to before. We're looking at a young keeper, a la David de Gea back in the day when we first signed him. We knew it was going to be a progress thing and a couple of years. I don't think Manchester United have that time at the minute. Our time now,
I agree.
after watching what Man City are doing at the minute, we need to keep pace because we're falling behind anyway, so we cannot fall off anymore. Can we invest 3-4 years in a young goalkeeper? It's such a vital part of the team.
That is exactly. Do you want to know what the poll's saying?
Go on.
The poll's saying, does De Gea be Man United's number 1 goalkeeper next season? Over 4,000 votes, nearly 4,500. What do you reckon?
No.
I don't
It
know.
is a perfect split. 50-50.
Wow.
50-50 with nearly 5,000 votes. That is, man, I didn't have that. I had no way I could see that.
But that's what it tells you about the goalkeeping position. It's so, listen,
It's a massive
there's
debate.
no,
It's
I
mad,
always said this, and Thingy said it as well, Ben said it as well, Ben Foster, certain stats with goalkeepers, it's percentages and stuff.
Yeah.
It's not fully factual like a pass completion and things like that. On top of that, listen, there's no stat metric to compare, for example, me saving a shot at 50 mile an hour or 70 mile an hour and how many times am I saving? There's no, because keepers have to make split-second reaction decisions, things like that. So they get, goalkeepers, when things work out, they're the hero, and when Courtois makes a mistake and Alisson makes a mistake in the same game, they look like donkeys. But that's the thing with the position, you either like it or you don't like it, and it's always going to split the fan base.
That's it there. I always looked at a goalkeeper as a defender. I was a centre-back back in the day. That was a long day ago.
I can imagine.
60 years ago.
I looked at a goalkeeper. I played better knowing that I had a goalkeeper who was going to actually come and flatten me. If that ball was in the box, I'd be worried about challenging for a ball because he's just going to come and lamp me in the back of my head. He doesn't care if it's a teammate or not. Someone who commands his box would make me play better. I wouldn't be looking over my shoulder. That's what I like in a goalkeeper. Someone who is going to be off his line instantly. De Gea didn't come off his line for me. That's my biggest thing with De Gea, not coming off his line. Yeah. That's what it is. Another super chat in from Jake. This is going to bring us on to our next point, actually, guys. We got lots of players on the bench/club on silly wages. See Jones, Maguire, Martial, not to mention the likes of Axel Williams, etc. David's wage shouldn't be held against him. Should be he is good enough. I mean, forget his wage. Is he good enough? That's basically what he's saying in the super chat. But it does take us on to that next point, Kev, which is. I'm going to bring Maguire into this now. Spurs, apparently, looking at Maguire. I'm sure Postecoglou didn't have him down on his wish list as first signing for Spurs when he comes in the Spurs job. But is there an opportunity there? Some are saying, can we use a mate-weight Harry for Harry? I mean, there's night and then there's day, isn't there, in terms of value for money. But Harry Maguire, he doesn't want to leave. He's going to hold his own, he says. It's up to Ten Hag, this. This is a big summer now for Ten Hag. Are we going to get that cutthroat approach that Pep Guardiola had? Or are we going to get the same old United?
No, you have. Man United have changed. You've seen the direction that we've gone in this season.
Go on, that's it.
Yes. What? Are you listening?
That's it. I like it.
And I'll tell you this.
The new United.
It is. No, but we're going in a different direction. What was the point of getting Erik Ten Hag in at Manchester United if the whole everything at Manchester United is going to change? We got rid of Ed Woodward. A banker in charge of Manchester United making stupid decisions, giving out contracts willy-nilly. We now have Erik Ten Hag in charge, and I don't know Erik Ten Hag personally, but I would like to think that after the cup final, this week will be a massive week for Manchester United in the sense that he's going to be calling them players in, the ones that don't have a future at Manchester United. And if I was Erik Ten Hag, Harry Maguire would be top of the list. I would be saying, I don't know what you want to do yourself personally, but you are not in my plans. This club will move on. it's probably for the best if you do move on, because you are not getting, or you're going to get very, very limited opportunities. It comes down to Harry Maguire himself then. What kind of ambition has he got if he's quite happy to sit on great money at Manchester United on the bench? And we need to rid ourselves of that now. I want players that are good enough to play for Manchester United and deserve to wear the shirt, know exactly what it means. Look at the players like Lindelof, for Christ's sake. He's stepped up this season, you know, in comparison to Harry Maguire.
Well, that's it. I mean, Ginger, has it been a case that Harry's stayed and has been comfortable because he knows his England spot is always there? And now what Southgate has come out and said, does that change the parameters now with Maguire?
The thing is, with Maguire, I do like Maguire. I love seeing him play well. I really do. But I think he's got... It's the things with confidence again with Maguire. And has he put in that many poor performances that the fans just... They can't be arsed with it anymore. And it's a case of whether it'll turn into one of those Phil Jones situations where he just stays at the club for so many years, doesn't get played, and then eventually has to leave. So... I think the best thing to do for him would be go somewhere else, earn your confidence back, and then see where he can go from there.
It's the money that Manchester United have spent on him, you know, that's frightening. And this is why at this moment in time now, do you let his contract run down, and then, you know, is he happy to sit on the bench? They can't be, you know, United, as much as it kills me to say, are run as a business, but they'll be looking at it and thinking, well, can we cut our losses now? Make 20, 25 million. I wouldn't even know.
As a business, like Kev said there, would you not look at it as like he's seen out the most of his contract now? So in a business term, you've made your money because he's played 4 years of his deal, 2 left with an option for a third. Do you take that 15, 20 million and say, we've got our money out of Maguire, move on? Is that not how you would do business?
Yes, 100%. If Ten Hag can't let Harry Maguire go on with a push of a button, then I don't think he's in the right job. Yeah. You need to be beyond ruthless. This is your asset. You know it hasn't worked. You didn't buy him. Someone else did. It hasn't worked. You tried. It hasn't worked. Push the button. Eject. Simple. There's no... in all honesty, Harry Maguire has no decision in this. He doesn't. He's under contract with Manchester United. The board and the gaffer decides what happens with you. You don't.
Well, he did have a say. If he'd have performed for Manchester
United,
if he had performed, give him something to think about.
But even then, Real Madrid have just let go of so many players. Exactly. Teams let go of players left, right, and centre. It doesn't matter. You are not part of my plan. The type of football I want to play next season, I don't even see you being a bench player because you don't fit my system and style. The philosophy and the style of football I want to play, you are not that player. So push the button and eject. Doesn't matter if it's 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever mil, that's not my headache. Yeah. That's the board's headache to go and get. Let them go and get it, add it to the transfer kitty, and then I'll go and buy a different centre-back. It's as plain and simple because that's what the top teams do. They keep recycling. They buy a player, doesn't work, next. Nobody is holding sentiment over Man City getting rid of players. Nobody. They don't cry that, oh, Gabriel Jesus, Zinchenko. They don't cry. No. Click the button and eject the players, plain and simple. And loads of players need to be. We need to do that with loads of players.
New poll up for you guys to vote on. Will Maguire be at Manchester United next season? Welcome to the members club, Peter Parlour as well. Afternoon, guys. Only just noticed you were on. Any news on the sale? You guys make me smile. Great show. De Gea should stay. Thanks.
Yeah, well said. I like that.
Super chat there from Tracy Taylor. And that poll is up. Will Maguire be at United next season? I've just put my vote on that.
I think as well, if we can get rid of Ronaldo with his legacy at United, I don't think Maguire would be that.
That's exactly what Kevin was pointing out before, Ginge. It's like,
very good point.
If the club are going to back De Gea over the greatest goal scorer in the history of the game,
who outscored Harry Kane in the same season, just to.
I can't see it being a problem. Can you?
No.
Okay. If Ten Hag wants Maguire gone, I can't see that being a problem at all. I mean, Kane, no. The other way. We're moving on to the striking department. I think everyone is quite clear on what Manchester United's priority should be. We've talked about De Gea. A lot of people have that 4th player on the list in terms of priority this season. Striker, Faz, Kane.
I'm very surprised why Manchester United are not going guns blazing to go and get a striker. Instead, they are paying over the odds for a midfield, for a attacking midfielder in his possible worst season. It's very surprising. When Real Madrid have just let go of Benzema, they are going to be hell-bent on getting a world-class striker now. Ancelotti's not going to stay there long, right? Yep. And Harry Kane will be the perfect fit to go and slot into Real Madrid. And Harry Kane wants to win trophies. He's not won anything with Tottenham. He's going to want to win the Champions League and La Liga and etc. Add to his legacy, which he doesn't have anyways. But now we're there fiddling about with Mason Mount with 70, 60 million when you want to go and do your biggest purchase quick. The biggest, most important purchase, get it out the way so you can then rest of the summer, you can look at the market, it's okay, number 2, number 3, number 4, let's do it. No idea why we're not in for Kane. Absolutely absurd. You have, I think it was one of the football financial experts, they were saying, Kieran Maguire, I think his name is, he was saying that Man United can spend 250 this summer. The majority, nearly half of the budget is going to be blown on a striker. And yet you're blowing so much of it on an attacking midfielder in a season with the team that need to get rid of players. Chelsea need to get rid of Mount more than we need Mount. Right?
Chelsea need to clear deck.
Yeah,
Chelsea
they need
looking to make financial fair play, homegrown talent.
If Tottenham are looking at Harry Maguire and we're looking at Harry Kane, there's a deal to be made. Whether we're rival clubs or whatever, Premier League, there is someone who wants to sell something and someone who wants to buy something. So there's a deal to be made. Go and attack that deal ASAP because there's no way Man United are going to go and pay 120, 130 for Osimhen. I don't see it happening. No. That's too much money. And you're looking at Højlund, who's again extremely overpriced. There's a ceiling there, whatever you want to call it, but he's extremely overpriced. Go and get Harry Kane and secure your biggest target ASAP. You're not in for Ramos or Vlahovic or etc. Harry Kane's the number one link. Numerous teams would love him. Go and get him quick.
If there is any possibility of a deal that involves Harry Maguire going to Tottenham and Harry Kane going to Manchester United the other way, plus money, I will carry Harry Maguire all the way to London on my shoulders. For free. He's a big man.
United fans would demand a 10-year contract extension for Ten Hag if he pulls that off.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Strikers, your worst enemy, obviously. Jins, being a goalkeeper. Yeah. To be honest, who is your striker? Who do you bring in? Who do you want?
Said it for 4 years in a row. Harry Kane. He, for me, is the best striker in the world. I think... Obviously, Haaland scored so many goals this season, but with him being in the City team, I make the argument of, and Jamie Carragher said it as well, I think Kane's had just as good as a season as Haaland, obviously not in terms of trophies, in terms of individual stats. I think Harry Kane's stats this season take Haaland out of the whole situation. I think he wins like 6 out of 7 golden boots for the last 10 seasons. It's ridiculous. I think he's one of the most underrated strikers in the world, and everyone takes the mick out. He's never won a trophy, but individually he's achieved so much. And I remember he did an interview or a little quiz with Alan Shearer, and the question was, who's going to be the highest top goal scorer for the Premier League? And they both pointed at Harry Kane. So the initiative for him to stay in the Prem is there, and I think we have that over Madrid because he wants to break the record, but we need to do it, and we need to do it quick because Madrid, they're not playing games.
Yeah. Welcome to the Members Club, Ragnar. Great name. In the middle of watching Vikings at the moment, actually. I was like, Ragnar. Super chat in from Average Joe says, we can dream about all these signings, etc., but the main problem for years has been our scouting department and trash, and I think you said that wrong, and trash and Murto is clueless. Murto's clueless. We've got a trash scouting department. There is a big thing about that, and I mean, we interviewed
Nick Cox,
head of United Academy, the other day. It does seem to have been a big change and a big shift, like you said a minute ago, Kev, in terms of United, how they're approaching things right now. Obviously, we've seen what Ten Hag got back with Ronaldo. The youth team, it's the best loan season I've seen for United youth players for a long time in terms of them progressing well out on loan. It is now a group decision, Nick said, in terms of everyone getting together and picking the best clubs for these young players coming through. Unfortunately, from what I've watched this season, there isn't any young players ready to come through to United right now. We've got, obviously, Garnacho. That was the one bonus. That forward line, Amad Diallo coming back as well. I mean, these players are covering all these wide positions. It is only a number 9. And I want to get your guys' opinions on it now. A number 9. So when that team is announced, it's like Casemiro is probably one of these players who I think in our forward line going forward, I know where he's going to play every single game. Everyone else on that team sheet, they could be anywhere on that pitch that day. I want someone who's going to go 9. That's exactly where he's going to play. He's not going to move from there. Is that as important as the player coming in? I mean,
I think it's huge, absolutely huge. And I said it on the last fan forum. What amazes me about Erik Ten Hag, and how what he's achieved in this first season. Yeah, we're upset after the cup final on Saturday, but we finished top 4, Carabao Cup. He, obviously let Ronaldo go for reasons that, there was rumblings from the dressing room. There was leaks. We obviously know that Ronaldo wasn't a great figure in the dressing room. When Manchester United got rid of him, for him to bring in Wout Weghorst as a replacement, that
brings up the scouting and the backing.
Yeah. I just think Ten Hag to work with his hands tied behind his back without a proper number 9 for pretty much the rest of the season, it's unheard of. No other team would have done what we have done this season. And I just think if we can get a number 9, it's not as bad as what it seems. If we can get a top-class number 9, if, for instance, we're all saying Harry Kane, you put him in that team straight away. You've got somebody who's got movement, is going to bring the likes of whoever it is, Sancho, Anthony, Rashford playing out wide. He's just clever. You watch him for England as well. He's very unselfish. He drops in. He allows other players to move off. When Martial plays number 9 for us, it doesn't happen. Weghorst certainly doesn't happen. Even Rashford to an extent, because I don't see him as an out-and-out number 9.
No,
I said this the other night on the last fan forum. I was like, what's the last top-class number 9, that we had? And somebody threw out Ibrahimovic. And I was trying to make the point. I'm saying, we've had Cavani. We got the Cavani, but not the Cavani. Yeah. Same with Ibrahimovic, who's good at United, but still, Igalo, Weghorst, and you start going through this list of all these players that have come in and done a little bit of a job, but I'd say at the risk of sounding like Gary Neville, we're Manchester United. Yeah. We should have a top-class number 9. Hopefully we address it this season.
Right in, mate, Gary. Super chats coming in. Andy Bell, lads, I'm sure you know, when you've been in a job for more than 10 years, complacency sets in. De Gea's time is done. His legacy is in our history. Oof.
The one thing I will say on De Gea, and I said this at the start of the season, I didn't see it as a major problem at Man United because I thought there were other issues and problems, and I still think them problems need solving before De Gea. I don't think De Gea is a major issue. We need midfielders, we need competition for places there. We need a striker, there's no doubt about that. And there's question marks about a few other players, like, say, Jadon Sancho and that. Is he ever going to kick on?
That's it. We could get into him as well in a minute. Adam, love the forum. Shout out to the new guy. Yes, there you go. Do you guys think Anthony will be another Greenwood situation? Do we need to sign another winger now? That conversation is probably going to come another show when we get more details on what is going down with all of that. But we just mentioned Diallo coming back there. We just don't need another winger. That's what I would say. We do not need another winger. Faz, you touched on it before, talking about United overpaying. Chelsea don't want anything less than 70 million for Mason Mount. Does that end that there? Or are you just outright, we shouldn't even be going anywhere near 50 million for him?
No, look, Mount isn't a bad player, right? He's got great abilities.
He missed the last 2 months with a pelvis injury. We know this,
he's a decent player, right? And he's got good pedigree because he's won things before. It's not like he's not won things before. And he's a Chelsea fan, whatever, that couldn't faze me. But look, Mount is a player that is nowhere near £70 million. It's impossible. For £70 million, you're looking at the top-class caliber player, creme de la creme.
Caicedo's 8, yeah?
So look at that, and what a season Caicedo's had. On top of that, if Liverpool are getting a World Cup winning midfielder for 40 million, and you want me to go and pay OnlyFans FC 70 million when you need to offload players, you must think you must take me for an idiot.
We do pay United.
Yeah, but then it's not happening. No, it's not. But he can't. This one said he can't. If we go and pay Mason, because firstly Mason Mount wants an X amount of figure from Chelsea as well. So there's the wage is going to come in as well on top of it. How much are we going to give him and etc. Nowhere 45 to 50, maybe even if you're pushing 55, and that's a max. I'm talking max. There's no way you can pay any more than that because on top of that, we want to play possession-based football. When have you seen Mason Mount play possession-based football? When? On what planet have you seen him play? He's good from long-distance range. He's got good shot passing and a good long-range shooting. When have you seen him control, dictate play, be able to link up with a striker in front of him? make intricate passes and move off the ball. You haven't. João Felix is a much better player, miles better player than him. He's a miles better player than him, and that's a 65, 70 million pound player. Manchester United, 70 million. Chelsea is something dodgy going on. I'm telling you, something seriously messy going on.
I think you made a good point then when you said Caicedo would be 80, and we're talking about Mason Mount at 70, and for me, there is no argument. You know, if you were going to go for one or the other, it's got to be Caicedo.
Mason Mount is the latest poll, people. Yes or no to Manchester United? Reece Phillips with a super chat. To be honest, I think Den Hag should have tried a false nine with Bruno after at centre forward, like Pep did with Kevin De Bruyne when they lost Aguero, but we never tried it.
We've been playing with a false nine all season since Ronaldo left, man. Playing with Weghorst and Martial.
To be honest, I mean, I'm not for messing around with Bruno. I think he gets moved around the pitch too much as it is. He's a 10/8 for me. I think that's his best position.
Even look at his game, Adam, right? As a number 10, you know, what has he had in front of him? I don't think he ever got
more chances than anyone this season, but our conversion rate compared to XG is shocking. It's, I think, 14th or 15th last time I checked. He's created more chances than De Bruyne this season, but no one puts it in.
Exactly, and that's why we're trying to say, if we've got a Harry Kane, whoever it's going to be that Manchester United do go for, just to have that player at the top of the park, you know, makes Bruno's game easier.
And everyone else in the comments get in on this one. After the season we've had and we've all lauded Ten Hag, do we just trust the player that he wants to bring in? If Mason Mount's a Ten Hag player, do we trust in Ten Hag?
100%, yeah. There's not a man on this earth I trust more than Ten Hag right now. What he's accomplished this year with the squad he's got, obviously with Weghorst as well, I think honestly, I trust him. I trust him in my life. If he wants Mount, I want Mount. I think I heard something the other day where you bring Mount in, he's a backup for Bruno as well in a number 10, and he goes number 10, Bruno can drop in as an 8 next to Casemiro. So he opens up other dimensions that we can do. But yeah, anyone Ten Hag wants, I trust him, anything.
I think it does come down to the fee, and this is where fans are a bit like, oh, he's not worth that, but I have to echo that if Ten Hag, you know, did anybody know about Malacia? When he brought, you know, Martinez was a bit under the radar, a lot of money, but look at what
every player he's brought
done.
in has impacted our season immensely. So you've got to look at it that way. He knows what he's doing with the money. Should we be moaning about the money? Whose money is it right now? God knows with the sale of the club.
Yeah, but
and he's also made players, fringe players that we thought were going to leave Manchester United even better. The likes of Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof at this moment has played really well. There's players there.
Well, to the fact that if Mount came in, we could moan about the price. But if you've got a Mount and a Rabiot, all of a sudden 2 central midfielders giving us a different dimension and options. Is that a good summer?
Right. Do we have new owners yet? We say whose money it is, but the next show we'll sit here crying that we're losing money every week.
This is the thing that's hanging over us.
Yeah, we need to be clever about money. I'm sick and tired of saying whose money it is.
You know how it works, don't you? So
yeah, my season ticket price just went up a couple of percentage. So it is my money. Because I'm crying. Do you know how many home games we've had? Cup run. I'm skinned.
told you, Matt. I think I worked out I spent about...
Good few grand, I know that.
In terms of like extra games this season, because we did so well, it was between 3 and 4 grand.
Yeah, easily.
It is crazy.
Easily. So it does hurt. And no, we need to be clever with our money spending, because this is the same situation we did with Martinez and Anthony, and we ended up with like overpaying 50, 60 million for both of them.
There's another player right there.
And I don't know why we keep doing this. Just because a manager wants a player, go and get him at any cost. Unless that player is, I'm talking Frankie de Jong level, you don't do that. Unless it's Osimhen level, you don't do that. And that's why Liverpool, some other teams, Bayern Munich, they get their transfers right, because they don't overpay. And if they do end up messing up a transfer, they can get rid of the player. And we end up in a situation where we can't get rid of the player. And we sat here thinking, oh, 20 million for Harry Maguire, 60 million damage. Oh, it's okay, it's not my money. That's every season it happens.
It is almost like other clubs see Manchester United come in, because no other team operates the way that they do. And you look at the transfer fees that United have spent recently, and it should come down to, you know, the board or whoever it is, the management, asking Ten Hag, how much do you want this player? You know, how much would you pay for him? How much is he worth? Not like, do you want him? We'll go and get him. Like you say, Anthony's a great example of that, you know. Ten Hag probably said, he's a player that I really want to bring to Manchester United. And then when you kind of heard the transfer fee, it was like, wow, you know, and even Jadon Sancho to an extent.
Let me ask you this. Do you see Mason Mount becoming a £100 million player? Do you think Mason Mount can become a £100 million player?
Yeah, but name me 100. What's a £100 million player?
João Felix could become a £100 million player.
I think João Felix is a 100 million.
Kevin De Bruyne's
Kevin De Bruyne on his
class.
well, he's slightly bit older now, but a couple of years ago, £100 million player. Can you see Mason Mount become a £100 million player if you're buying him for £70 million? Only this season, we've somewhat said, okay, Bissaka's maybe £50 million worth now. Only this season we can say, okay, Dalot's had a downhill after the injury comeback, but first half of the season, he's been really good for the money we've bought. Martinez, good for the money we've bought. Malacia, he can definitely be good for the money we've bought. All season, everybody cursed out Anthony for the money we paid for him. Okay, now we sat here thinking Jadon Sancho, another player that we technically overpaid for, and he's not lived up to his worth. We need to be very careful with considering how we pay for these players, because you pay them, and I promise you, in 6-7 months' time, we'll be sat on this panel saying, oh, Mason Mount paid 70 million. There'll be comments flying about saying 70 is not worth 70 million. Need to get it right. And on top of that, managers have to earn their stripes. Ten Hag has done great this season, but Manchester United is about winning trophies. He has to go and do that next season again and the season again. There's been, in the world of football right now, better established managers who's come into Manchester United and have been flogged off. And they've gone on to win trophies in other clubs. Another example, Tuchel got flogged off, gone and won the league. But still, at the end of the day, still. So Ten Hag has to add to his stripes. He's just won the Carabao Cup. Congratulations. Second in FA Cup, amazing. Third in Premier League, really good. But now it's next. What's next? How can we go and win the FA Cup?
Why do you want him to be 100 million? Why are you saying, can he become 100 million?
Now, good question.
This is the problem. This is the thing. It's like, you could get a £100 million player in the last year of his deal for 40 million. This is the values. The values differ.
Considering Mason Mount's age,
circumstances,
right, and the type of player he is, the type of football we want to play, I want to go into a phase where we're improving. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not thinking that next season we're
better than anyone in our midfield. Is he pushing Eriksen right now?
I think. Well, if you put Bruno Fernandes in the 8 and Mason in the 10, then I can see that. For sure. But then, like I said, there's other players in and around that position in the world of football that we could name that could do the same job. It's just I want Manchester United to be going ready for 4 or 5 seasons. And if you're ready for next 3 or 4 seasons, you need to be improving season in, season out, right? Like Rashford's improved, Bissaka's improved, Dalot's improved. Players need to improve. And can Mason Mount improve? Can Ten Hag add to his profile is the biggest question for me. And for 70 million, if you're going to add, it's going to become 80. It's going to become 90,
It does
right?
seem like a lot of people in football do rate Mason Mount. I don't know where this...
I mean, there's a lot of... We can't really take much from the Southgate show.
No, I was going to say
that. Every single week, but, Faz looking mint in that shirt. Super chat from Alien Tenno. Mandy also says in the super chat, I Adam Caicedo and Amrabat would be 105 million. That's the midfield covered for sure. Wingers not needed. Kim Min-jae and Kane with Højlund and players sold. Job done. FIFA's a great game, isn't it?
I'm thinking more Championship Manager back in the day.
I mean, if we could play it like FIFA, then I think we'd all be laughing right now, wouldn't we? But it does seem simple when you look at it, when you break it down, put it on paper. But again, across the board for midfield, boys. Let's do it again. Ginge?
Don't start with me because I need to have a think.
All right, let's go. As you just said a lot on midfield, who's your ideal midfielder? Go.
Right now, Caicedo.
Caicedo.
Caicedo. I know it's a dreamland, but Camavinga as well. I'd even try and flirt with Camavinga a little bit. Frankie de Jong, that's me living in La La Land. But yeah, Caicedo.
Yeah, you definitely fell asleep playing FIFA last night.
Yeah, but these are top players. You can't
mate, I know. Is Camavinga a £100 million player?
Absolutely can become a £100 million with a shadow of a doubt. He's won everything already, has he not?
If you go to Madrid, you do usually tend to win everything, don't you?
He's won everything already. Is he not the youngest Real Madrid player to do it as well?
Yeah. Caicedo would be the main one for me. I cannot understand...
Straight in the team as well?
Oh, straight in. At 21 years old. 21 years old. He's done it at Brighton. I've heard a few arguments saying that players that leave Brighton are just used to their system and never kind of kick on when they've left. And you look at a few of them players, it goes against the grain for me. And I will not understand one bit if United are not in that conversation. That they do not even entertain it, make a call, send a fax, Ed Woodward style, whatever they do, send a carrier pigeon, whatever it takes, send it, and you have to be in there saying that you were interested in this kid.
Fabrizio confirmed it yesterday.
What?
Man United are still in conversation about
That
Caicedo.
will do for me. The carrier pigeon must have made it.
Yeah.
That's the one.
But we have to be, because he's an up-and-coming player, Premier League proven already at Brighton, and he's shown this season he can play a number of positions.
Like that, at that age, he could become a United legend and a £100 million player.
He'll be there 10, 15 years at United.
Ginge, any different?
I agree with them too. I think the Caicedo on the Premier League proven. I think that's one of the main things when you're buying a player.
Yeah, it's snobberish, but it is facts, isn't it?
It is 100%. But one, I thought Camavinga was a very good shout. Same with Madrid and French. Tchouaméni from Madrid as well. I remember watching him in the World Cup. I didn't watch him too much, but I remember watching him in the World Cup. He was a special player, big, aggressive, straight into it, dived in. He was brilliant, great to watch. I think he would. Him and Casemiro next to each other.
And this is where we talk about snobbery then before. I think the kind of age snobbery comes in with discussing Harry Kane or Osimhen at Manchester United. You know, I do feel that a lot of people think Osimhen, because he's 24, you know, he's got a lot to give. Yeah. And a lot of people have kind of written Harry Kane off because he's 29? I've said it before, you know.
30 now.
Robin van Persie was a similar age when he came to United.
I don't understand why that's such a big thing with Harry Kane.
I don't.
He's 29.
You could get four very, very good years.
Zlatan's 38, I think. He's only just 40. He's only just retired.
He's 41, I think.
There you go. Do you know what I mean? If Harry Kane stays and bangs them numbers in for the next 9 years, I don't have
questions over Harry Kane. I doubt our medical department.
No,
that's my main concern.
He's injury-free for the last 2 seasons, Harry Kane. So the injury shout and his glass ankles that everyone talks about, that can go.
Yeah.
That's gone. He's got his new guru that he's got, that expert. I remember listening to something on that. I think he was talking in an interview. But yeah, since then, I don't know who the guy is.
Tottenham have been heavily reliant on him. You know, Tottenham haven't been great.
I'm absolutely
this
gutted
season.
that they've got a new manager coming in now. It always happens, doesn't it? So you think you can get a player away, new manager comes in,
can't
talk.
imagine that's going to be enough to keep him there.
Yeah, no, I'm not. He ain't.
I would seriously be challenging his mindset if he didn't leave this summer. I would be looking at him and going, where's your professionalism, honestly? You forget about that stupid Shearer record. It's a load of crap, that. You look at yourself and what you can win and what your honours you can win. I would be questioning Kane.
Unless they've promised him a stand. Promised to name a stand after him.
Kane stand,
yeah, be next to an NFL player, won't it? Set that ground down than anyone else. Darren Mulaney with a super chat. We should be buying players under the 50 million and marketing. Marketing.
Very much agree.
Starts like Evan Ferguson, Highland from Atalanta. I mean, like I said, marketing and making them up. Like, that's what it's about, isn't it? I mean, it might not work completely, but if you have an average, decent season, you've got money in it.
Yep.
That's the business side of it, like Darren says there. Another super chat in from Redson says, these issues that we currently have a limited budget and we are trying to stretch it, therefore we can only buy players at B level. That's that one again. Instead of getting first choice, it's second and third. That's what happened in the summer. Even though we got Casemiro, it's a great second choice, wasn't it? Yeah. But that was only to Frankie de Jong, like you said, the next level up. What if the takeover meant we could have bought A-level players? I mean, takeover is going to have some sort of effect on how much money we spend. Financial fair play, though, we're still going to determine that we can't go out spending willy-nilly, so...
No. And these players that we'll be bringing in will be on 5-year contracts as for the FFP. That's the only way we will qualify to spend 250 million.
It is now the second term of financial fair play, new rules and regs as well, where you have to coincide with agents' fees, wages and everything in terms of balancing your books. So that's where Chelsea hit it hard in the first season, grandfather rights, and then they can't bring it in the next year round. So... yeah, you have to be savvy, you have to be clever. Caicedo, Tchouaméni, that's the midfield. Big link for defence this summer. We talked about Harry Kane leaving. We're not badly stacked in defence right now. I think full back, I'm quite happy right now. Don't think it's a priority. No. 2 for each side, you could say. Centre backs, obviously when Varane's fit, he's going to play. He's just absolutely outstanding for me. It's Rolls Royce. Martinez, the butcher, simple. Is there a centre-back that comes in and dislodges one of them too? Is there anyone out there that dislodges one of them too right now? Should we be going for a Kim Min-jae, Ginge?
I'm not going to sit and say I've watched Napoli this season, but I know he's a good player and I know what he's done this season for them. I think if you bring in Kim Min-jae, you've got to sit him down and you've got to say, look, you won't start, because I don't see there being a centre-back that will start for Varane and Martinez. Individually, he might be a better player than one of them, but the cohesion, the partnership they've built up, sometimes that affects it more than just the actual individual ability. I think them two together is arguably one of the best partnerships in the world.
Kev, for you, is there any way of dislodging them two when they're fit? How does Kim Min Jae come in? Because I said this and Beth clipped it up and I got slaughtered for it on social, as you do, because I said Kim Min Jae would come in and dislodge Raphael Varane. I said Kim Min Jae, after winning Serie A, would come in and go, I want a first team place. I'm coming to United to be a first team starter. I'm going to prove it. That was my whole point. That's how I would see him coming into the team. Then again, I thought, that's what you should be coming to United. And then you realise when you come to United, I'm here, that's not always going to be the case. You only have to look across the road at City and look at the players that are sometimes sat on their bench. I mean, Diaz had a season off last season. Now he's back again. This is what happens at good teams with good setups. These players, I think, now will understand that. And I think Ten Hag's season in charge and the progression, I think that's going to attract players and not necessarily put them off if they're not starting.
The main thing about getting Champions League this season was about building under Erik Ten Hag, and it brings a different breed of player, doesn't it? How many times have we heard when we've been messing around in the Europa League that players have turned us down, they've gone elsewhere to the likes of Liverpool, City, whoever, because they want to be in the Champions League. That is the place to be. Now, we have ensured that this year. Kim Min Jae would be a great addition to the squad, because when you look at the figures involved, but I've not seen that clip of him, but I would totally agree that he would come, and I don't think for 1 minute he'd be saying, right, I'm here to sit on the bench. He would be there to, I would think, if that's what you said rightly, dislodge Varane, I would see that as the weaker link because of the injury issues that he's had at Manchester United this season.
A few people have said that.
Yeah, if he can be knocking about, let's say he's up to speed, and Varane does break down, then all of a sudden, he steps in, and if he performs, that is his place, and Varane would have to earn it back. At Manchester United, we've talked about standards and stuff. It can't literally be because he is Raphael Varane, he's won 5 Champions Leagues, that he should be in the team. It all comes down to how players are performing, and that's where Solskjaer fell down, because we know he had favourites. It didn't matter what performance you put in last week. He knew, he's starting 11, and it really made no difference. Same with Southgate at England, that kind of. You want players in there on performance, and I think a player like that at the fee as well that's being mentioned, the release fee kicks in, does it? What is it, about between 40 and 50 million, is it?
There's a few being put out there, 40 to 50 million sort of marks.
It falls within the bracket.
Buyout clause.
I don't think it's a big risk.
Big up, boys, Faz and Ginge, great work. United! Super chat from Arnold.
Have I missed something here? What is this? This is like little...
Right, it's Ginger's. Okay. Yeah, it is. Fair but Faz... he loves it. He loves it. That's it now. It's just going to go crazy in the chat for it now. Every time you tee him up, I swear, they're all over it. Kim Min Jae, if he comes in when Varane gets injured, performs well, does he stay in the team under Ten Hag? Is Ten Hag the type of manager to say... Because at one point in this season, we played Manchester City at home and we had Maguire, Lindelof and Martinez on the bench because Luke Shaw performed well at centre-back. Well, Kim Min Jae and players look at that under Ten Hag and go, if I get in this team and I perform well, I'm going to get given my due.
Rafa Varane cannot be our number 1 centre-back next season. I've said it towards the end of the
Going with the injury concern?
Yeah, I'm not waiting for you to get injured for me to replace someone. I'm not. I'm having a solid back line with Luke Shaw being in his favoured position where he's most effective, with Bissaka and Dalot challenging for their position, and I'm having Martinez being exactly where he is, and I'm having a fantastic partner that can play with him week in, week out. The amazing thing with Varane and Lindelof would be is they can just come in and slot in certain games when they need to, and that's how it needs to be. It doesn't need to be you swap a player when they're injured, you swap a player because you need to rest someone because there's a cup run coming or etc. That's how it should be. Varane, really good player, but again, let's not get too irrational. He is aging. He's on an extremely ridiculous wage contract based on what he should be, and eventually in a season or two we need to be filtering him out as well. That's how that's how a proper organisation should be run. Just because of his name, Rafa Varane, that he should start, it shouldn't be like that. There's no questions about his performance. His performance is really good, but he hasn't played 2 games a week this season. And there was also a report that came out that I think he mentioned to Ten Hag that I can't play a particular game because I'm not feeling 100%. I'm sorry, but can't have that.
You can't rely on
I
it,
can't. And on top of that, Kim Min-jae, has he not won the best defender in the league as well? Won that league as well.
One good thing with him, his passing is phenomenal.
Again, so is Martinez, line-breaking passes, both of them. That's what I would want. That's the type of football we want to play. We want to get the ball into our midfielders, squeeze the opposition higher up on the pitch, almost stay past the halfway line. That's what we want to do. We want fast defenders. We want defenders who are good in the air, good on the ball, all of these things, and who can play week in, week out. Don't forget, this season, we played every single game bar the Europa semi and the final, right? We played every single game. So many games that Luke Shaw had to play centre-back. Malacia had certain games had to play CDM and all of the... Can't be having this.
Dalot at left-back.
Dalot at left-back.
We were blowing towards the end of this season. Now, you look at the games that Manchester United played, like Faz says, and then you think, we want to be playing a similar amount of games next season. The difference is we're going to be in the Champions League and the levels are just beyond the Europa League. It is different grade.
You get out of jail games in the Champions League. Yeah, you may in the group stage with the way that it's structured and the champions of these crazy countries being in the first pot. You may get away with one, but United are going to be up against some tough cookies straight away in that group. A couple of super chats come in. Danny says Ollie had Maguire forced on him. Rojo was talking about that.
Yeah, I heard that.
My under-10 team won the league today. The United stand inspired me to study the game and I've improved as a coach for it. Best super chat of the day, Michael. Well done, son. Get in there. Open top bus parade for you, mate. Let's get that done. I'll come to some more super chats in a minute, but before we finish up, first forum I've sat on. I've been at every game this season. I want to get your guys' opinions. You've been to games, you've been watching it on TV. Player of the season. I've got to ask this question before we go for you. Angry Ginge is going crazy. It looks like his head's going to spin off, so I'm going to go with Kev first of all.
Player of the season
and why. I need some context in it as well.
I think there'll be a few popular opinions. This might be, but I'm going to say Casemiro. Overall, I was going to say Luke Shaw. I've just slightly changed my mind into Casemiro. I just think what he's brought to Manchester United this season is just something different to what we've not had at United for years. Leadership, yes, he had a couple of red cards, which were debatable.
Shouldn't have got the red cards. It's an absolute joke.
He's missed games, which was highly infuriating, but a performance in the Carabao Cup against Newcastle, I don't think we win that game without him. If for some reason he missed that game and a McTominay or a Fred took his place, he just won that game single-handedly. He absolutely bossed it, controlled it. I think he's been an absolute breath of fresh air. Another fan's favourite. Obviously, I think Martinez would have been in the hunt if he didn't get injured towards the end. But great to have players like Martinez and Casemiro. The ones that the kind of fans can relate to when they come over, kind of beating their chest, and you think these get it, because over the last few years we've been starved of it. We've seen fans arguing with players at the end of the season and that, and I think it was quite refreshing at the end of this season to wrap it up with Champions League football and a trophy.
Well said. Just going to go through a few super chats before I come to Faz and Ginge there. Do you think Ten Hag could use a formation at Manchester City if we buy Kim? Have Martinez, Varane and Kim as centre-backs and have Shaw and Wan-Bissaka/Dalot as wing-backs, with Casemiro dropping back to help the centre-backs. Another one we can talk about quickly in a minute there. Anthony has new allegations of assault. What do you know? Supposedly he was with us at the time of these surfacing. Again, Anthony news will escalate and we will probably talk about more of that on another show. Not for today, we haven't got enough time. Nice to see Ginge on here. Love the guy. United, keep it up, lads. He didn't put United right. There's no Y in it.
Why did he spell it correctly? Why did he spell it correctly?
That spoiled it. But yeah, we get what you mean, mate. Cheers for the super chat. Faz, player of the season.
I really want to give it to Casemiro. I think it's a fantastic shout. Martinez is a very good shout.
Do you know what I love about Casemiro? It's just like when it's kicking off, he comes in to the middle of it and goes, "Look at me, look at my nice."
I thought you were going to say he grabs you by the neck.
No, but he doesn't. This is why it was that nonsense about him grabbing someone. He just goes in there and just smiles at people, and everyone just walks away. Yeah. It's like he just calms everything down. It's like, you're not going to argue against me. Just walk away.
Just walk away.
And he's just a calming influence in everything.
And I think he was walking a tightrope towards the end of the season. I think because he knew he'd been sent off, it's almost like he thought referees had it in for. There was some instances you seen him thinking, I'm not going in for this.
Come out.
I think look, Casemiro is a fantastic shout, but you know, when he's come back after his suspensions or the odd few games, I think I can call about 4, maybe even 6 games where his forms had
It does
dipped.
take him time to get into his
and
groove.
he's a little slow burner, isn't he? He needs about a run of games for him to start on. On top of that, people were, you know, firstly, they at the start of the season, they said Scott McTominay took his spot. That was the weirdest argument ever. Then, obviously, the suspensions. Some of them he didn't need to do the things that he did and etc. But XYZ happens, whatever. So he missed loads of games as well. So I think based on those, I can't give him player of the season. But again, nothing taken away from his performance and the addition he's brought in. Really amazing, absolutely amazing. But the one player for me who has been consistent throughout the season, has had a new contract, has not gone on holiday after his new contract in holiday mode, and has kept on and on and on, played numerous different positions and played it really, really to the point where you're even thinking, did we even need a centre-back in the first place? Has to be Luke Shaw. For me, you know, the reason why is this same fan base, the way they came at Luke Shaw a couple seasons ago, and when Luke Shaw, you know, had his surgery and everything and the weight issue and things like that, Luke Shaw has had to deal with things off the pitch on a different scale, on an unbelievable amount of scale. For him to overcome that and to have a season like this that he's had this season, play numerous positions, be good going forward, be good tackling, tracking back, play his normal role at any given moment, go into all of these things in a season as well where we've just come back from the worst season in our history. And then you see that, and he's got a new contract, and he's not gone into lazy mode after his new contract. Salah went into lazy mode after his contract, and then he got to kick up the backside for him to start firing again. Players do that. Luke Shaw, for me, has to be, for me, the player of the season, without a shadow of a doubt.
Well said.
Without a shadow of a doubt, because Malacia came in, question was he might take Luke Shaw's spot. Sit down over there, lad. You're new in this squad. I'll show you what it means to be a Manchester United player, and that's what he's done.
Right, few super chats before Gingers. We have to speed it up because we have gone over time a bit. That's what it's like in the end of the show. Heart of United, who just bigged up Angry Ginge. United, there you go. He's come back with another super chat, the lad. I've got to give him his props for that. Brandon says longevity is key. If we go for older players, they have to be replaced sooner. I understand the experience, but we need longevity more so. Another one from Arnold says Casemiro, class, impact, composure equals Casemiro. Player of the season. Ginge, the floor is yours to finish us off. Who's your player of the season, mate?
There's that many I could name. I could name the whole starting 11 plus a few subs. First shout in there, David de Gea. I'm not going to give it to him, but I want to give it. I just want to, you know, give him a shout because he has been exceptional. You know, you don't get 17 clean sheets in the hardest league in the world if you've not had an unbelievable season. Yes, he's had a few mistakes. He plays in the hardest position on the pitch. If Casemiro misplaces a pass but then wins the ball back, that's fine. De Gea kicks it at a striker and it goes in the net. That's going to get magnified. Martinez, wow, that's all I've got to say with him. He is. One thing I noticed was at the Liverpool game at home, I think within the first 2 minutes, he put in a hell of a challenge. He was so aggressive. He looked at the crowd, he just got the whole atmosphere. It was absolutely electric. You know, Casemiro, amazing. Rashford, he had a great season. But I'm going to have to give it to Luke Shaw as well. I'm
a good salesman, Anna.
Yeah, you're not bad. I'll give it. But no, I'm going to give it to Martinez just because of the way. I mean, last year we had Victor Lindelof and Varane. We've seen what that could do. Martinez, he got slaughtered for his height and all that. He's the next Cannavaro. I've got to say it. He is unbelievable. He's the way he's changed the defence and the whole aggression of the team is absolutely brilliant. So he's my player of the season.
Brilliant stuff.
Who's yours?
Mine, Bruno Fernandes.
Oh yeah, have I not mentioned him? Sorry, Bruno. I know he's watching.
That man carries this team in every way possible. I think he's infectious. I think his work ethic and everything, he runs more than anyone else every single game. I think his running stats aren't magnetised enough.
Yeah.
He does, when he loses the ball, he'll always get it back, and he's not afraid to miss. That's what I love about a United player. The old Sir Bobby Charlton saying, never be afraid to miss. One will go in eventually. God, Bruno, just score from outside the box. Back me up, please. Just let them go on target. But yeah, composure in the final in front of all them City fans as well. Love that. That's Bruno perfection. Before we finish, we have had a super chat for a shout out from Angry Ginge to give us a
United.
And again,
United.
There we go. That was the last super chat of the day. Brilliant way to finish Ginger's debut. It's been epic. Faz, as always, brilliant stuff. Kev, keeping up the old guard with myself.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, mate. Guys, absolutely brilliant show. Let us know, drop your comments in when the video goes up on YouTube. Do you want to see more shows like this over the transfer window? We can round up the week. We can have a good debate on the panel as well. An extra show for you guys to get involved in as well. But that is it for now. Like, share and subscribe to the United Stand. We'll see you tomorrow. I think Mark is back. He's in Ireland tonight, so if anyone is there in that live show, do enjoy yourselves. Fazzy's on the 8 o'clock show tonight, and then we'll be back to normal as from Wednesday forward, guys. So enjoy the rest of your week, and hopefully we've got news on the takeover to bring you as well before the end of the week. Fingers crossed. Cheers for watching, everyone.